Ready to dive into the world of David Goggins? We're tackling resilience, self-discipline, and facing those challenges head-on.
Yeah, those challenges we all have.
We're talking about what makes him tick, how he pushes himself, and what we can all learn from his journey.
Absolutely.
So we dug into his book, Never Finished,
It's a great book.
and we're ready to unpack the most impactful insights for you.
Yeah, Goggins has this reputation, right? Extreme mental and physical toughness, ex-Navy SEAL, ultra-marathon runner, motivational speaker.
Right.
And this book, it's not just another self-help book. It's about pushing beyond our limits
Yeah.
to achieve true self-mastery.
Right from the start, Goggins throws us right into the deep end
Oh, yeah.
with this fascinating experiment about rats.
Okay.
They're swimming in a tank until they literally drown from exhaustion, but when researchers saved a second group of rats just before they gave up, those rats swam much longer.
Interesting.
Now, on the surface, you might think, oh, it's just hope keeping them afloat.
Yeah, it's easy to assume that, but Goggins, he argues it's something much deeper.
Okay.
It's belief.
Belief.
Those rats, having been rescued, they developed this belief in their ability to endure.
Okay.
And think about it, hope can be so fleeting,
Yeah.
but belief, that deep-seated conviction, that's what fuels you when things get tough.
That really makes you think about those times when you face a challenge, right? And hope feels like it's fading.
Absolutely.
Goggins is saying you need to cultivate that unshakable belief
You got to.
in yourself
Yeah.
and your ability to overcome,
Right.
no matter the odds.
Exactly. And this idea of confronting challenges head on, I mean, it leads us to this pivotal moment in Goggins' life.
Oh, yeah.
He decides to return to his abusive father's house, a place filled with painful memories.
You can feel that emotional weight as he walks back into that house.
Heavy, heavy stuff.
He talks about this intent and inner dialogue he experiences.
Yeah.
One voice blaming his past,
Hmm.
and another demanding he take responsibility for his future.
It's fascinating because Goggins realizes that confronting his past, no matter how painful,
Right.
is the key to unlocking his future. He can't change what happened, but he can control how he responds to it,
Right.
how he shapes his own narrative.
I think that's such a powerful message for anyone who feels burdened by their past.
Absolutely.
It's not about ignoring the pain, but acknowledging it and then choosing to move forward.
You got to.
But how do we actually do it? Does Goggins give us any concrete advice?
He does. He emphasizes this power of audio self-talk.
Audio self-talk.
Yeah, he records himself talking through his fears.
You're recording yourself.
Yeah.
That's an unusual approach.
It is, but it's more powerful than you might think.
Okay.
Goggins says when you hear your own negative self-talk out loud,
Right.
you can't ignore it anymore. It forces you to confront those negative thoughts.
So it's like holding a mirror up to your own inner critic and challenging those negative thoughts.
Precisely, like having a personal coach in your pocket, but it's you holding yourself accountable.
Okay.
And it can be really effective for anyone struggling with self-sabotage or procrastination.
Right.
Even recording a simple pep talk can shift your mindset.
Okay, that's something I'm going to try myself.
Yeah.
This has already given me so many things to think about
It's great stuff.
and apply in my own life.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Goggins' approach. He gives us these practical tools and techniques,
Right.
and then he shows us how he uses them in the most demanding situations.
Right.
Like a great example is his experience during Hell Week of SEAL training.
If Goggins is close to quitting, you know it has to be brutal.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in this grueling multi-day test of mental and physical endurance,
Right.
and the quitting mind starts to take over.
Oh, it does.
But Goggins has a strategy for this?
Yeah, he calls it the 1-second decision.
1-second decision.
When that urge to quit hits, he says, take a knee, figuratively,
Okay.
assess the situation, and then make a conscious choice to either push forward or not.
So it's like having a predetermined plan for those crucial moments
In
in our lives when we feel like giving up.
It's like having that mental framework already in place.
Right.
So you can respond strategically, not emotionally, when those tough moments hit.
Think about a time when you felt like giving up on something.
Yeah,
How could Goggins' 1-second decision have helped you in that situation?
right. That's such a great point.
I've definitely experienced those moments of doubt, and having a strategy like that could have made a huge difference.
It could have.
But making those tough decisions,
Yeah.
I imagine that could be even harder when you're surrounded by people who doubt you or don't believe in your goals.
That's where the foxhole mentality comes in.
Foxhole mentality.
Goggins talks about how important it is to surround yourself with the right people.
Okay.
People who believe in you, challenge you, and won't enable self-pity.
So your foxhole's like your inner circle. The people you trust to have your back when things get rough.
Yeah, but how do you identify those people?
Right.
What qualities should you look for? Goggins is very specific about this.
Okay.
Says these aren't just cheerleaders, they're people who are honest with you, who push you to be your best,
Okay.
and who won't let you wallow in self-pity.
So it's about surrounding yourself with people who will hold you accountable and support your growth,
Absolutely.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Even when it's uncomfortable, exactly. These are people who will celebrate your successes,
Right.
but also call you out when you're slacking off or making excuses.
Think about your own fossil for a moment.
Hmm,
Are the people around you supporting your growth or holding you back?
that's a tough question, but it's one worth asking.
It's really making me think about the people I surround myself with.
It should.
And that's the power of Goggins' approach.
Absolutely.
He challenges us to look inward,
You have to.
to honestly assess our lives, our habits, our relationships.
Yep.
He doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he pushes us to confront our weaknesses head on.
You got to.
It's almost like he's saying that true growth and resilience come from embracing the discomfort,
You got to embrace it.
from facing those tough questions, and from surrounding ourselves with people who will push us to be our best selves.
Absolutely. And that leads us to another key concept from Goggins.
Okay,
The idea of redefining your 100%.
redefining your 100%.
Yeah.
What exactly does he mean by that?
Well, Goggins has faced multiple knee surgeries, setbacks that would have sidelined most people,
Right,
but he doesn't let those limitations define him.
okay.
He adapts, he adjusts his expectations, and he finds his new 100% within those constraints.
So it's about accepting your limitations, but still pushing yourself to achieve your full potential,
Right.
whatever that may look like at any given moment.
Exactly. Think about it this way. We all face unexpected challenges
Yeah,
that force us to reevaluate what we're capable of.
Right.
And Goggins shows us that it's not about ignoring our limitations, but it's about realistically assessing our situation
right.
and then maximizing our potential within those constraints.
That's such a powerful concept, especially for anyone who's facing a setback or dealing with limitations.
It is.
It's not about comparing yourself to others
No.
or to your past self,
Right.
but about finding your own unique path to success.
Your own path.
That's just the beginning of Goggins' wisdom.
Oh, there's so much more.
There's so much more to unpack in this book about resilience, self-discipline, the
Yeah.
power of mindset.
It's all in there.
I can't wait to dive deeper.
Me too.
I have a feeling there are a lot more ha-ha moments waiting for us and never finish.
Oh, absolutely. Goggins has a way of challenging our assumptions, pushing us to think differently about ourselves
Yeah.
and our potential.
For sure.
It's great stuff.
We'll be back after a short break. So we were just talking about the idea of redefining your 100%. And Goggins doesn't just, throw that concept out there.
Right.
He walks the walk when it comes to adapting and overcoming setbacks.
He does. His experience training for that Moab 240 ultramarathon.
Oh, yeah,
That's a perfect example. I mean, this race is brutal.
it is.
240 miles of unforgiving terrain.
Yeah.
And, Goggins, he prepared for this challenge
Yeah,
meticulously.
right.
But even with all that planning, things still went wrong.
I remember that part in the book. He gets
Oh.
lost for hours because he handed off navigation to a pacer.
Right.
And then his ankle starts giving out on top of respiratory problems.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Right.
I mean, most people would have called it quits
Right then and there.
right then and there.
Thrown in the towel.
Yeah, but Goggins, he just dips deeper.
Yeah.
Gets his ankle taped up, pushes through the pain, and still manages to finish the race.
It's incredible to even finish, but what really struck me was his attitude.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't waste energy getting angry or blaming others.
No.
He just kept focusing on what he could control.
That's a key takeaway for
Yeah.
us. It's not about avoiding setbacks altogether because, let's face it, life throws curveballs.
Yeah, it does.
It's about how we respond when those setbacks inevitably happen.
Right.
Do we let them derail us, or do we find a way to adapt and keep moving forward?
So it's about having that never-finish mindset.
You gotta have it.
Not letting challenges define us,
Right.
but using them as opportunities to grow and learn.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that concept of redefining your 100%.
Okay?
Goggins uses the example of training for a 444-mile bike race
Oh, wow.
just weeks after major knee surgery.
Most people would be taking it easy.
Taking it easy, yeah.
Focusing on recovery.
Right.
Not Goggins.
Not Goggins. He sees it as a chance to redefine his limits, to find his new 100% within those physical constraints.
And get this, he actually ended up finishing the race in second place.
It's mind-blowing, second place, just weeks after surgery.
Yeah.
It shows us the power of mindset,
Yeah.
of adapting to our limitations, and pushing ourselves to achieve what might seem impossible.
It's so easy to let limitations, whether they're physical, mental, or even just circumstances, to hold us back.
It is. It is.
And Goggins is saying we don't have to let those limitations define us.
We don't.
We can find our own 100%
Yeah.
and still achieve incredible things.
Absolutely. And he's not suggesting that we ignore our limitations
Right.
or pretend they don't exist.
Right.
It's about being honest with ourselves about our capabilities at any given moment,
Okay.
setting realistic goals,
Yeah.
and then pushing ourselves to reach our full potential within those constraints.
This is really making me rethink the way I approach challenges.
It should.
It's not about comparing myself to others or to some ideal version of myself,
Right.
but about focusing on what I can control,
Yeah.
pushing myself to be the best I can be right now.
That's exactly the mindset shift Goggins encourages.
Okay.
But it's not just about pushing through physical challenges.
Okay.
He also applies this to our mental and emotional well-being. He talks a lot about self-awareness,
Yeah.
being present in the moment,
Right.
which he calls situational awareness.
He learned that concept in the military, but it's so applicable to everyday life.
It is. It is.
Can you elaborate on that a little
Sure.
bit?
It's about being in tune with your surroundings, your emotions, your own thoughts and actions. It's about making conscious choices based on that awareness.
Yeah.
Rather than reacting impulsively or letting your emotions get the best of you.
And he gives that great example from that Moab 240,
Yeah,
where he gets lost because he handed off navigation to his pacer.
right.
Most people would have blamed the pacer.
They would have.
But Goggins, he owns up to his mistake.
Yeah, he realizes he wasn't paying attention.
Right.
He let his situational awareness slip, and that's what led them off course.
Yeah.
This really highlights the importance of taking responsibility for our choices and actions,
Right.
even when things don't go as planned.
So instead of dwelling on the mistake or blaming others, we should focus on what we can learn from the situation
Absolutely.
and how we can adjust our approach in the future.
Precisely. And that kind of self-awareness is so important.
Yeah.
Not just in physical challenges, but in all areas of our lives.
Right.
Goggins encourages us to examine our relationships, our careers, even our own thoughts and beliefs,
Okay.
to see if they're truly serving us or holding us back.
That's where the fossil mentality comes back into play.
It does.
Surrounding yourself with people who will support you,
Yeah,
but also hold you accountable,
right.
who will challenge you to grow and become more self-aware.
Exactly. Goggins is adamant that these are not just yes people.
Well-
They're people who will call you out on your BS, who will push you to confront your weaknesses,
Right.
your blind spots,
Yeah.
and who will ultimately help you become a better, more self-aware version of yourself.
It's like having a personal board of advisors who are invested in your growth
Yeah,
and who will help you stay on track even when you're tempted to stray from your path.
that's a great analogy.
And speaking of staying on track, Goggins talks about the power of self-discipline
He does.
and creating routines that support our goals even when we don't feel like it.
Yeah, this is where a lot of people struggle.
It is.
We know we should be doing certain things,
Right.
but it's so easy to fall back into old habits, let those good intentions slip away.
Right.
How does Goggins approach this? Well, he doesn't advocate for some strict military-style regimen.
Okay.
It's more about finding what works for you, what helps you stay motivated and consistent,
Right.
and then building those habits into your daily life.
So it's more personalized.
It is. He uses the example of how when he was trying to lose weight and get in shape,
Yeah.
he started waking up early every morning and doing push-ups, even when he didn't feel like it.
It sounds simple, but it's so powerful.
It is.
It's about creating those small wins, those little acts of discipline
Yeah.
that build momentum and eventually lead to bigger changes.
And it's not about being perfect every day.
Right.
Goggins acknowledges that we all have days when we fall short.
We do.
The key is to not let those setbacks define us.
Yeah.
To get back up, dust ourselves off, and keep moving forward.
So it's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
It's about showing up for ourselves even when it's hard
You got to.
and celebrating those small victories along the way.
Absolutely. And this ties into another key concept that Goggins emphasizes, the power of taking ownership of our lives.
Taking ownership.
It's so easy, especially when we're going through tough times, to blame others,
Right.
to feel sorry for ourselves, and to get stuck in that victim mentality.
That's something we can all relate to, I think.
We can.
It's human nature to want to avoid responsibility when things go wrong.
It is, but Goggins is very clear about this.
Okay.
That kind of thinking is a trap.
Yeah.
It keeps us from taking control of our lives and
Right.
creating the future that we want.
Right.
He talks about his own experience growing up in an abusive household
Right.
and how he realized he couldn't let his past define him.
Hmm.
He had to take ownership of his life, even though it was painful and difficult.
That's such a powerful message for anyone who feels like they're a product of their circumstances.
It is.
It's about reclaiming your power
You got
and choosing to create a better future for yourself,
Yeah.
regardless of your past experiences.
And Goggins doesn't just preach this, he embodies it.
Right.
He's living proof that we have the power to choose our response to adversity, to shape our own destinies.
This is really inspiring stuff.
It is.
And I could see how it could be life-changing for a lot of people.
It can be.
But it's one thing to talk about taking ownership and setting goals.
Yeah.
It's another thing to actually do it.
And that's where Goggins really shines.
Okay.
He doesn't just offer platitudes. He gives us concrete tools and strategies for taking action.
Okay.
He talks about the importance of having a clear vision for our lives,
Right.
setting goals that inspire and challenge us, and having a set of values that guide our decisions and actions.
He calls this our oath to self.
He does.
A bed of personal commitments that help us stay focused and aligned with our deepest values.
Yeah. What kind of questions does he encourage us to ask ourselves when creating our own oath to self?
Right.
He challenges us to dig deep,
Okay.
really examine our motivations, What do you stand for? What do you want to achieve?
Yeah.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Yeah.
These are tough questions, but they're essential for creating a life that's aligned with our true purpose.
I love that he frames it as a legacy.
Yeah.
It's not just about achieving something for ourselves.
Right.
It's about making a positive impact on the world around us.
Absolutely. And Goggins doesn't sugarcoat the effort required to achieve those goals.
Right.
He's very upfront about the fact that it takes hard work,
Yeah.
dedication, a willingness to push ourselves beyond our comfort zones. But he also makes it clear that it's worth it.
He's not promising a quick fix
No.
or an easy path.
No.
He's offering a blueprint
A blueprint.
for creating a fulfilling life
Yeah.
that's built on hard work, resilience,
Right.
a commitment to personal growth.
And he backs it all up with concrete examples from his own life.
Right?
He breaks down his training regimens,
Yeah.
his mental strategies for overcoming adversity, his approach to setting and achieving goals.
It's not just motivational fluff.
Yeah.
It's practical advice from someone who has walked the walk and achieved extraordinary things.
He does.
And what I find so inspiring is that he doesn't present himself as some kind of superhuman.
No, not at all.
He's very open about his struggles,
Yeah.
his setbacks, the times when he doubted himself.
Absolutely.
He's not afraid to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to show us that even the toughest, most disciplined people
Right.
face
You
challenges.
do, and that makes his message even more powerful.
Yeah, it does.
It's not about being perfect. It's about being resilient,
Right?
about never giving up on ourselves,
Yeah.
and about embracing the journey with all its ups and downs.
I like that. We've been talking about taking ownership of our lives,
We have.
embracing those tough challenges. And that's where Goggins really, I think, sets himself apart
Yeah.
from so many other self-help authors out there.
He does.
He's not afraid to get real and raw
No, he's
about
not.
the hard work
Right.
involved in self-mastery.
He's not sugarcoating anything.
Right.
He's not offering quick fixes or easy solutions. He's giving us this unfiltered look at the struggles, the setbacks
Right.
that are inevitable on the path to personal growth.
Right.
And even more importantly, he equips us
Right.
with the tools and the strategies to navigate those challenges, to overcome our own limitations.
One thing that really stood out to me
Yeah.
was his almost radical willingness to confront discomfort.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he intentionally seeks it out,
He does.
almost as if he sees it as a crucial ingredient for growth.
He talks about how during his Navy SEAL training, he would push himself beyond his limits,
Right.
running in the snow with no shoes, staying awake for days.
Right.
But it wasn't about punishing himself. It was about training his mind
Yeah.
to endure anything.
That's a pretty extreme example, but I get the point.
Yeah.
It's about building resilience by intentionally putting yourself in uncomfortable situations.
Right. And Goggins takes this concept beyond just physical challenges.
Okay.
He talks about how whenever he starts to feel complacent, comfortable in life, he actively seeks out new challenges
Right.
to push himself
Like his decision to become a smoke jumper at the age of 47.
Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly something most people would consider relaxing or comfortable.
Not at all.
He could have easily settled into a comfortable routine, but that's just not how Goggins operates.
Right.
He's driven by this constant desire to evolve, to test his limits, to prove to himself that he's capable of more than he thinks.
That's a wonderful lesson for all of us because it's so easy to fall into routines.
It is.
And avoid anything that feels difficult or uncomfortable.
It is.
But Goggins is reminding us that it's in those uncomfortable moments, those moments where we push ourselves
Right.
beyond our perceived limits, that real growth happens.
That's what it
And
happens.
I think that's especially relevant today when we're surrounded by so many distractions
So many.
and quick fixes.
Right.
We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us to seek comfort and ease.
Yeah,
But Goggins is challenging that notion.
he is.
He's saying that true fulfillment and lasting change come from
Hard work,
hard work.
dedication, a willingness to embrace the struggle.
It's about having that bring it on attitude, isn't
It
it?
is.
Not shining away from challenges, but seeing them as opportunities to
Absolutely.
grow stronger and more resilient.
Exactly. And Goggins doesn't just leave us hanging with these grand ideas. He actually gives us practical strategies for
Right.
putting them into action.
Right.
He emphasizes the importance of setting clear goals, creating routines that support those goals, and holding ourselves accountable.
He also talks a lot about having that foxhole mentality, right? Surrounding yourself with people who
He does.
support your goals and challenge you to be your best.
Absolutely. It's something we touched on earlier, but how do we actually build a foxhole
Right.
that supports our growth?
It starts with being honest with yourself about the people you surround yourself with.
It does.
Are they lifting you up and encouraging you to grow, or are they holding you back?
That's the question.
Goggins stresses the importance of surrounding yourself with people
Yes.
who are honest with you, even when it's tough to hear.
It is, and they're not just there to make you feel good. They're
Right.
there to push you, to challenge your assumptions,
Right.
to help you become the best version of yourself.
It's about having those people in your life who will celebrate your wins,
Yes.
but also call you out
Right.
when you're making excuses or not living up to your potential.
Exactly. And those relationships are invaluable.
They are.
Because let's face it, we all have blind spots.
We do.
We all need people in our lives who can provide perspective and help us see things
Yeah.
that we might be missing.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
Goggins is really challenging us to think differently about resilience, self-discipline, the power of mindset.
Absolutely.
He's given us so much to think about and apply in our own lives.
He has. And remember, he's not offering a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
He's giving us a framework,
Yeah.
a set of tools, a way of thinking
Right.
that we can adapt to our own individual needs and circumstances.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to walk away with?
Embrace the never-finished
I
mentality.
never finished.
It's about constantly striving to learn, grow, and evolve.
Right.
It's about pushing past your perceived limits.
Yeah.
Embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth.
Hmm.
It's about taking ownership of your life, building a strong foxhole, and never giving up on yourself.
Goggins' story and his philosophy are truly inspiring.
They are.
He shows us that we all have the potential to achieve extraordinary things
We do.
if we're willing to put in the work and embrace the journey.
That's it.
So, what challenge will you confront head on?
That's the question.
What step will you take today to embody the never-finished mentality?